Update. I've only just realized that I let the men I call my family and friends ruin my marriage. Original post. I've been divorced for almost 2 years, and a few weeks ago my father, 67 male, my brothers, 37 male and 40 male, and 4 friends, 35 male, 37 male, 38 and 41 male, while very drunk, joked about how they can't believe I left my wife. They said that they all tried to get with her since the divorce, but she had repeatedly rejected them, saying it would be inappropriate and unkind to do such a thing to me. I laughed at what they were saying, just to ease them into saying more. And once they thought I found it funny, they really opened up. They had all purposely made me feel paranoid about my ex-wife cheating on me and using me, because why would a woman like her be with a man like me if it wasn't for the money I made? They often hinted at, or sometimes even directly said, that she wore the pants in the relationship, and that she was only with me because I'm easily manipulated. They constantly planted negative things into my mind. If I wanted to talk with them about something happening in my relationship, they would put a negative twist to it, or they'd purposely give me bad advice. Then, when I lost my job during COVID, they all hinted at how she's definitely cheating, now that there's no financial benefit in being faithful to me. I obviously trusted them and often took their words to heart, and it ruined my marriage. I frequently argued with my wife, and I was always accusing her of something or suspecting her of not really loving me. I questioned everything that was between us. I often told her BS things, like how I'm a high-value man and that she needed to appreciate me. And when I was not working for 6 months, I flipped the script and started accusing her of not respecting me for not working. I was unappreciative of all her hard work and for being the one who took care of our household bills and any other bill during those 6 months of unemployment. I continued to let their words drive me into paranoia, and I started accusing her of cheating with her coworkers. Eventually, my wife had enough of my moods, constant mistrust, and accusations. She left me. And to be honest, for a long time it felt like it came out of nowhere. And so I had myself convinced she left me for another man. Now here I am knowing that every man I've called my family, my friend, were all my enemies who I let destroy my marriage. I obviously lost my mind once they were done telling me all the ways they conspired to ruin my marriage, and we did get to blows. Then cut off all contact with each and every one of them. I want to reach out to my ex and make amends and hopefully get her back. My ex-wife has agreed to meet up with me, and she doesn't know exactly what I want to discuss with her, and I don't know how to go about making amends and hopefully mending our relationship. How do I tell her how much I regret everything, and that I want her to give me a second chance? Is there even a chance for us? Edit. Some of y'all keep saying you took the words of your friends over your wife's, and I don't think that's a fair or complete assessment. I trusted my father and brothers. My father was the main driving force behind this manipulation campaign. And it's not often that your entire family is conspiring against you. And not only your family, but also your friends. I'm not running away from accepting the fact that it is wholly my fault in how my marriage ended. I take ownership of that. I take ownership of the fact that I accused my wife of being a cheater or a user. I regret it all. If my ex-wife doesn't accept my apology, I would accept it gracefully. If she said she never wanted to talk to me or ever get back together, I'd also accept it. I would not stand in the way, and I would not try to change her mind. I would wish her well and leave her be. Now for the top advice before reading the update. So are you telling me that your dad and brothers also tried to get with your wife? I'm shocked they are still alive after a confession like that. I don't know, man. Bahamians are just too volatile to hear something like that to not go off. That's just vile. I didn't include the violence that broke out once heard it all, because I didn't want to get my post banned. Blood was absolutely spilled. And of course I had myself beat because it was 7 against 1. But I did do damage, and an ambulance and the police were called. None of us pressed charges against each other and left it at that. Honestly, I'm still raging, and I've been heartbroken since. What pieces of turd are these family members and friends? Wasn't enough they ruined your life, they ganged up on you instead of being apologetic AF and de-escalating. Shaking my head. I know you can't go John Wick on them, but isn't there any legal framework for a defamation lawsuit you could start on behalf of your wife against all of them? I've decided I wasn't going to let these people steal one more second of my time. I don't think there's much I can do legally, and even if there is a legal framework for it, I wouldn't even waste any time on it. That relationship is dead, dude, and you killed it. Sure, meet up and explain everything you learned and apologize for your wrongs, but besides closure, I don't think you should expect anything more. Seconding this, If I was laid off and my wife was working, I'd be appreciative AF, to be honest. A 50s housewife with back hair. Only been laid off once luckily, but my unemployment ended up being a long weekend. They got into his head. It's done. He can maybe get closure and give her some, but I can't see it being rekindled. Now that I look back at things, I absolutely see how unappreciative I was of her kindness and her dedication to me. Even reading this has genuinely hurt me because I really let these men, especially my father, play with my mind. I can't even come close to imagining how much I hurt her with my distrust. Now for the update. On Sunday, I got to meet up with my ex-wife. I apologized profusely and she was kind and understanding, but said she couldn't and wouldn't forgive me. She said that it simply isn't in her nature to forgive, and that despite it all, she holds no grudges or anger against me, and wishes me nothing but goodness in my life. She did give me some advice, and told me that I have been in an abusive relationship all my life, and that in order to heal whatever is broken in me, that I should cut out my father, as he sets the tone for my treatment by the rest of my family. She had pointed out the many ways my father has hurt me, or had encouraged my family to mistreat me. She said I'd always be stagnated and unhappy if I continued to associate myself with my family and former friends. I told her that I cut them out of my life, and that I've got my first therapy session scheduled in a few days. She said she was proud of me for taking my first step into healing. Our conversation was heartfelt and emotionally devastating, as we discussed the many ways our marriage had failed, as well as the abuse I've experienced by my father and family. We cried the entire time. We cried a lot. We ended our conversation with a long hug, and then we said our goodbyes. If any of your brothers/friends are married or have girlfriends, tell them exactly what they did. All of them work together to manipulate you, then all try to sleep with your ex. They are monstrously manipulative and evil. And quite besides revenge, these women need to know their partners are abusive and manipulating them deliberately and cheating, if they were in a relationship during this time. I would send a group text of all the wives/girlfriends, send them screenshots of their messages as well as this Reddit post. You're not seeking revenge, just paying it forward. I've heard of toxic families, but man, what your family did to you is unreal. And led by your dad? Damn, what kind of parent does that to their child? I hope you move on and pass their BS. So sorry they did those things to you. I'm so sorry you're going through this. Too bad she can't forgive, because that's an important step in emotional maturity. I wish you healing and happiness. Forgiveness is earned through changed behavior and recognition of your harm, but it isn't guaranteed or something you deserve. Some things shouldn't be forgiven, but that doesn't mean it eats away at a person or that it somehow holds them back. So I do agree with her when she said that you don't need to forgive in order to heal or gain emotional maturity. And sometimes forgiveness is not even an option. For her, this is one of those things that she simply can't and won't forgive. And all she can do is accept it. As much as I'd like her forgiveness, it is simply not available to me, and that's perfectly fine. Now leave her alone and continue to work on yourself. Next story. I told my mom to do us all a favor and finally overdose. My mom, if you'd like to call her that, was absent for the first 11 years of my life due to her addiction. She got clean a year later and then relapsed when I was 17. I always used to cry myself to sleep, wondering why pills are more important. All she had to do was choose us and say no. She would never do it. We were never good enough for her to stay clean. Why do I feel like I lost something that I never had? Fast forward to now. I'm 21. I have accepted that all I have is pictures of my mom and I'll never have a real one. But every time I picture her, all I feel is pain. In fact, all 8 of us will never have a mother, bar the youngest who's adopted. The second and third youngest are in foster care. Even though they aren't my dad's, he is trying to adopt them to keep us all together. Anyway, it was my 21st not too long ago. My mother stumbled in. You could immediately tell she was on a calm down and rambling to anyone who would listen to how she raised us. She loved us, she cared about us, and how my father snatched that away from her. I walked right up to her, and with a 20-year dialogue of pain, anger, and everything I wanted to say, scream at her. I'm in a room with a parent that I barely know. You'll say to anyone that you're proud of me, but you don't know me. You should have been there when I graduated, congratulating me and telling me you loved me, but you were strung out on drugs. Telling me you love me, but it isn't real. If you really cared for me, then where have you been? You've had over 25 years to get yourself together and be a mother. You should have been there for us. I don't get it. I am humiliated. We needed you. I needed you. We were too young to understand. I was nothing but a kid who couldn't understand. All I feel is pain when I look at you and think about you. Just do us a favor and end our suffering, and finally overdose. And let's just say after I screamed that in her face, I felt relieved. I finally felt a bit of happiness mixed with sorrow, but it was calming. I guess I'm grieving for the mother I never had in a sense. Her side of the family are refusing to speak to me or any of my siblings, as they call it punishment until I apologize. My siblings were proud of me and said they'd do what I did in a heartbeat. My dad said it wasn't the best place or time, but is proud of me for expressing how I feel. I don't really know how I feel anymore. Like, I do feel guilty. Like, maybe I shouldn't have said it. I don't really know, other than I'm hurting. Now for the top comments. I'm not sure if you and your sibs are in therapy or not, but if you want a free/low commitment option, you can join Alcoholic Anonymous. It's a support group for family of addicts. And they also have Teen Al-Anon. I forgot the group name, but they also have one called something like Adult Children of Addicts, for those who grew up in that situation and how it impacts their adulthood. All of these groups have local and online meetings. We've been in therapy for as long as I can remember. I think I started therapy when I was roughly 2 or 3, and it was play therapy or something along those lines, due to her trying to end us, among a whole load of abuse when it was her weekend to take care of us. Was it the best place? Maybe not. But if no lies were told, you have nothing to apologize for. Her family can enable her delusions and her lifestyle if they want, but there is nothing to apologize for. Exactly. Why the enabling? It's insanity. I don't think it's enabling. As such, I think it's more optics. Opie saying what she said means that the extended family had a camera turned on their own actions, etc. And that's what got them angry. I know optics and enabling do sometimes go hand in hand. Poor Opie. Last story. My dad's partner keeps trying to psychologically harm me, but I can't help laughing at her futile attempts. I'll start this by giving some background info. My 18 male, parents 53 male, 46 female, divorced when I was 6 on good terms. They got shared custody of me, and I'd spend half a week at my mom's and half a week at my dad's. Around a year after the divorce, my dad got together with his current partner, who we'll call Amy, 42 female. She has 2 children, 14 female and 12 male, from her previous marriage. I'm pretty close with them, and we get along well. Unfortunately, me and Amy never really got close, but we also never fought. That was until around half a year ago where, out of nowhere, she did a complete 180. She started giving me the passive-aggressive treatment and made remarks about every single thing I did. Back then, I had no idea what was her reason, but I recently found out. And let me tell you, she's petty AF. My dad's dream ever since he started working was being able to retire early. After working at the same bank for over 25 years and saving a big portion of every paycheck, he managed to retire last year. I'm really proud of him because he decided to use his free time to work on himself. He started to eat a lot healthier and has been working out daily. This led him to losing over 40 pounds. As it turns out, Amy's not as enthusiastic about it as I am. She's really envious. I'm not entirely sure as to why, but I'm guessing it has something to do with her poor financial decisions in the past. Unfortunately for me, she's the type of person that bows down to the strong but bullies the weak. She knows that my dad won't take her nonsense, so she decided that I'm the next best target. My dad's place has 3 bedrooms, which means her kids have to share the biggest one. Since I'll be going to college in a couple of months, I told my dad that I'll give my bedroom to one of them. My sister got really happy because she's about to start high school and she desperately needs some privacy. Because of it, Amy came to the conclusion that since I'll be gone in a couple of months, she can start treating me like crap. Here are a couple of examples which came to mind because of how stupid they were. She would scream at me if I failed more than 1/4 of the bathtub, which, mind you, is not even a big bathtub, as I barely fit inside as a 6 feet 4 inches guy. I chalked it up to her being an environmental freak all of a sudden. She wants me to do my dishes, which is understandable and I have no problem doing. What I have a problem with is her not letting me use more than 1 set of dishes. She doesn't allow me to touch any other dishes besides that one, and doesn't even allow her own children to touch mine as if I had a bubonic plague or something. Last week, I bought microwavable popcorn and started making it. When she heard a popping sound, she appeared in the kitchen out of nowhere and started grabbing every bowl so I would have to eat out of the bag. She hid the bowls under her blanket, like some toddler. I audibly chuckled because of how ridiculous this was, and she immediately started shouting something along the lines of, "How dare you laugh at me?" I have a long blonde hair which is the same length/color as her daughter's. Once, she stormed into my room and started demanding I clean the bathroom sink because, and I quote, "Your disgusting hair is all over the sink. Clean it now." The problem is, I just came back from school and haven't been to the toilet that day. I told her that the hair was not mine, and that is probably her daughter's, to which she said that is not possible because only your hair looks so repelling. Now mind you, this only happens when my dad's not around. She once tried this nonsense when he was around, and he immediately shut it down. He's been nothing but understanding and has talked to her numerous times, but she always resumes her usual behavior after things settle down. I don't know if any of you found yourself in a similar situation, but I'd appreciate any advice on how to deal with it. Like I said, I'm moving away for college, but I want to be able to visit my dad without having to participate in emotional warfare. Edit 1. I've seen some people asking why my dad married her. The answer is he didn't. As much as they might have had feelings for each other at some point, their relationship currently is basically strictly practical. She needs someone to help her with the kids and a place to live, while he needs someone to be around. The entirety of my dad's family is either dead or live so far away that they see each other every couple of years. As for friends, my dad used to be a workaholic, so he only has like 2 close friends who he sees semi-frequently. Laugh at her. Simple and effective. At every petty comment, laugh at her. She wants a reaction? Give her the one that will screw her more. Don't engage in smile and laugh. Don't give a rise her argument. That's what I've been doing for some time now, but it only seems to make the comments more frequent. I can't wait till I get away from her. They're more frequent because she's not getting to you. Maybe record one of her tantrums and send it to your dad, and then every time she tries again, get your cell phone out. Another commenter also suggested recording this stuff. Might actually look into doing it. We'll see. Damn it, man. I know what it is like to have such a horrible step-parent, unfortunately. My best advice would be to cover your back by having your phone recording as many interactions with her as possible. I'm not a fan of hidden cameras, but when someone is mistreating you, it is the best way to prove what is going on. Keep your phone in your pocket so that it isn't so obvious. Who knows though, maybe being obvious and recording her actions when she starts up is exactly the wake-up call she needs. She will be upset, but so what? She will just have to get over it. Not a bad idea, though I feel like it won't change much. Update. My male 25 girlfriend, female 25, decided to quit her career after I became a millionaire. How do I tell her this won't work out? Original post. I met my girlfriend Kylie, fake name, at community college 7 years ago. We became really close friends and started dating 2 years later. Back then, she wanted to become a nurse, which I fully supported because she was so passionate about it. I later transferred to a 4-year university and earned my MBA. Kylie supported me emotionally the entire time I was in school, which I'm really grateful for. Her parents eventually cut her off financially due to her spending habits, so she took a year off to work and help cover her bills. Meanwhile, I invested all my savings, time, and energy into a startup platform in the automotive industry with my best friend. Earlier this year, we were bought out for a life-changing amount of money. Both of us were kept on as consultants with high salaries. Kylie kept her job at the jewelry store throughout this time, but after the buyout, she told me she was putting in her 2 weeks' notice. I offered to cover her school expenses so she could go back and finish her nursing degree. At first, she was excited about going back to school. I even bought a condo for us, a big step up from our apartment, close to her campus. But over the weekend, she mentioned that she wasn't sure about returning to school after all, and suggested she could be a stay-at-home wife. Or not married. I didn't say anything at the time because I didn't know how to respond. Part of what initially attracted me to her was her ambition. Now, it doesn't sit right with me that she quit her job and career goals after I came into money. Her shopping and spending have also increased, and she's been looking at new cars. I might be overreacting, but something just doesn't feel right. I still love her and want this to work out, but I don't like this new side of her I'm seeing. Now for the top advice before reading the update. Not sure what kind of advice you want here. It's pretty easy to tell her that you never wanted a stay-at-home spouse. You wanted a partner that's also contributing to the household and that you really valued her ambition toward having her own career and independence. You need to have a really frank discussion that as of right now, your assets are not shared wealth. That you're happy to help her go back to school, but that you intend for your lifestyle to be whatever, and that you intend to invest further into your future. So here's another detail I left out. Her mom was a stay-at-home mom. Her dad is very well off, so I don't think she sees anything wrong with her decision. That's the family life she was raised in. When we first got together, she said she wanted to be the complete opposite of her mom. She wanted to be independent and have a career. In the future, if we end up having kids after getting married, I don't mind her to be a stay-at-home mom. But for now, that's way too far down the line. I mean, generally there is nothing wrong with being a stay-at-home partner/spouse, but that has to be a mutual decision. Stay-at-home parent? Absolutely nothing wrong with that. 25-year-old stay-at-home boyfriend/girlfriend? No, there is very much something wrong there. Now you see why her parents cut her off financially. She's a mooch. Sit her down and explain that you are willing to pay the basics and only if she goes back to school. But you will not be paying for anything more and she needs to continue to work. After all this time, school should have been finished. Side story for the reason she got cut off. She ran over her friend with her car. Kylie says it was unintentional. The friend disagrees with that. Friend ends up suing Kylie's parents on the basis of them owning the car Kylie was driving. Anyways, Kylie's parents ended up settling with a friend for $250K. They told Kylie she needed to get a job and get her own car after this. Well, that's a story. Wow, sir. Yeah, definitely a hurdle in our relationship, but we made it through. My sister is this way. She's 35 now and hasn't worked in over a decade. Her husband works 12 to 16-hour days and then comes home to do all the chores because my sister is too tired from Pilates and shopping to do chores. Poor guy. Don't be in relationships with gold diggers. This will be your future. Also, you should not date people who run other people over with their cars. Wholly burying the lead, Batman. Now for the update. First, I'd like to thank everyone for their time and advice. I truly appreciate everyone's input. I had a serious conversation with my girlfriend Kylie about our future on Thursday night. I told her she needed to figure out a plan, whether that meant finding a job or going back to school. I also mentioned that if she chose to return to school, I would support her financially, including paying for her degree. I gave her until December to figure out her plan. She ended up getting really defensive, telling me that she's the reason I'm where I am in life, and that I should pay for her lifestyle since she's been there from the start. She also said she'd wasted 5 years of her life with me and could have been married and had a family by now. I was shocked, as I'd never seen this side of her before. She was having a complete meltdown. I ended the conversation by telling her that I'd tried my best to make this relationship work, but it won't work under these conditions. Unlike her, I come from a very middle-class family. Both of my parents had jobs and contributed equally. It felt like she had become a completely different person, and that's when I realized money had really changed her. I told her I had a business trip, which she already knew about, and asked her to have all her things moved out by the time I got back on Tuesday, leaving the keys with a mutual friend I trust. I canceled her credit card that same night. The car she currently drives still has $6,000 left on the loan, but luckily, it's in her name, so I'm not responsible for it. I've been making the payments on it for the last 6 months, but I'm done with that now. I also don't feel too bad, as her parents would never let her be homeless. On Friday, her sister called me multiple times. I initially ignored her calls, but eventually answered since they were at my condo. Her sister told me that Kylie had been crying all day and wanted to work things out. I told her it was too far gone for that. Then today, her best friend called asking if I'd meet for drinks, which I thought was odd. Her friend told me she had some things to show me that had been keeping her up at night. I told her I'd think about it, but honestly, I don't care at this point. Finding out about anything Kylie might have done behind my back would only cause more pain. When I get back, I plan to put the condo on the market, as I have no use for it anymore. I honestly have no interest in dating for now. It's too difficult for me to discern people's true intentions. Thanks again for all the help and support. This will probably be the end of this post. Side note, there were a lot of questions about Kylie hitting her friend with her car. I didn't know her when it happened. Kylie initially attended a private university for her first semester of college. She told me she accidentally put her car in drive instead of reverse and ended up hitting her friend. Kylie was super apologetic, and a friend forgave her on the spot. However, the friend's mom found out about the incident and learned that Kylie's dad is a CEO of a major corporation. She decided to sue her parents. The lawsuit was settled out of court for $250,000. Afterward, Kylie left a private college and moved back home, which is when she and I met. I don't think it was intentional on her part, but after seeing a different side of her recently, I'm not sure of anything anymore. I would take a moment and lock down your credit. Be prepared to put up cameras. Be ready for a mess when you get home. Have your phone ready to video in case you need proof later. I hope that I am overestimating how badly she will take this, but it seems like she currently has no clear path to a better life, and she may strike out at you as the reason. You're right in all you have done. Just don't count it as over yet. Yeah, maybe I've spent too much time on Reddit reading crazy stories, but breaking up with her and then leaving her alone in your apartment seems like it wasn't the smartest decision. What's to stop her from changing the locks and demanding you go through a formal eviction process and dragging this out? Or wrecking the whole place before she goes? It would have been smarter to have her out before you left, or to have waited to break up with her until you came back. Even if nothing bad happens now, in the future if you ever land yourself in a situation like this, don't dump someone and then leave on a trip, leaving them alone inside your apartment. I'm guessing she was either cheating or trying to baby trap and friend feels guilty knowing. It does have me curious. BFF is losing sleep over it and is willing to throw Kylie under the bus because of it. Or does she just want a chance to buddy up to Obi? It's either to create unnecessary drama or to get in where her girl missed out. No matter what else it might be, it's really one of those two things or both. I'd say leave it be. Walk away carefree. Next story. My 23 female boyfriend, 27 male, charged me $100 for ruining his shirt in the wash. My boyfriend and I were together for almost 3 years. I recently graduated college and I'm taking a gap year while I apply to dental school. Right now, I'm working as a dog sitter while studying for the dental school entrance exam, so I've only been paying about 20% of our rent for the past 4 months. By January, I expect to have a full-time job after my exam and will contribute more to the rent. In exchange for him covering more of the rent, I do pretty much all the house chores. Cooking on weekdays, doing laundry, vacuuming, taking out the trash, etc. Even though we agreed this arrangement would be temporary, he never fails to bring up how little rent I pay. I also use $200 from my EBT to cover groceries each month. Not a lot, I know. We rarely go out to eat, maybe twice in the past 3 months, so he's not spending much on dining out either. That's the dynamic of our finances right now. Recently, I accidentally got a pink mark on the collar of one of his work shirts while doing laundry. It must have come from the detergent, and he ended up charging me $100 for it, because it was an expensive shirt. I felt really offended. It seemed so stingy, especially since I've bought him clothes several times without needing a special occasion. He, on the other hand, only gets me gifts for my birthday or Christmas, which is fine, but the fact that he charged me for a laundry mistake stung. The day he charged me for the shirt, I just brought him a Colombian hot dog that I wanted him to try. I'd planned on taking just one bite since I'm not big on hot dogs. But after he asked me for the $100, I ended up eating it myself, right in front of him. I told him he could reheat some leftovers if he was hungry. I felt petty, but I was hurt. This is so wild to me. I accidentally put the wrong cycle on for my husband's cashmere jumper once and somehow didn't get indentured to eternal servitude, even though the jumper was ruined. It was an accident, and a sincere apology was enough. Once, a sock got trapped with his underwear and the entire load of laundry came out covered in fluff, and I still wasn't sacrificed at the altar of good housekeeping. Then again, my husband also contributes around the house even though I am a stay-at-home mom. Something tells me this man will continue berating your efforts as well as expecting you to do everything you're already doing long after you secure a job too. My wife and I have both made mistakes when handling the laundry. We laughed it off and move on. Although when I browned her grilled cheese too much, she complains to management, our dog. Then I have to fire the chef until next week. If he ever marries you, it won't be a real marriage. He'll demand a prenup and treat you like a freeloader for staying home to raise his children. I'd make plans to leave. She's going to have dentist money eventually, but he'll expect to spend all of it, even though he doesn't share with her. Yep, he's waiting to ride the wave. Update: we've since ended a relationship. It wasn't just about the shirt. There was a buildup of issues and a lot of miscommunication between us. I feel heartbroken. Last story. My 28 male bum of a brother, 26 male, just announced that he is dating an 18-year-old girl. I went to her and scared her off by being honest about who my brother is. Family is disgusted that I am trying to keep him from being happy. How do I explain this was in the best interest for everyone? My brother is a mooch, plain and simple. He is the baby of the family and no one ever wants to say or do anything that might upset him. Every time a great opportunity has come his way, he's blown it by being lazy, sleeping in, playing video games, you name it. He still lives with our parents, only reaching out to me or the family when he needs money. That's just who he is, unfortunately. Recently, he started dating a girl we've known since childhood, a family friend. She's in her first year of university, and somehow they ended up together. I don't know how or when they started talking, but I know she's too young and naive to be with someone like him. I've seen him ruin relationships by dragging women down with his lifestyle. Time and again, his ex-girlfriends have quit their jobs or dropped out of school shortly after they started dating him. This girl is smart, driven, and passionate about journalism. And the last thing she needs is his influence. So, I drove over to her parents' house and spoke to her. I explained exactly who my brother is, why she should be cautious, and what could happen if she gets involved with him. I made it clear she could make her own decision, but I wanted her to know what she'd be getting into before things got more serious. I thought that was the end of it, but the next day I got a flood of texts from my parents, my brother, and the rest of the family, all accusing me of trying to ruin his life when he's supposedly trying to get back on his feet. They're angry with me for pushing away a source of happiness for him. The thing is, I've seen this cycle over and over. He'll say he's going to change, and then the family rallies around him, giving him money and support, only for him to throw it all away because of some health issue or the bad job market or some other excuse. At this point, I don't know if it's even worth trying to explain myself to them. They all seem completely blind to who he really is. I could really use some advice on how to handle this because it feels like no one is willing to see things from my perspective. If she were the same age, I would say you should back way off. But a young girl with little dating experience is easy prey for dudes like this. And I'm sure your brother was spinning all kinds of lies and exaggerations to her. As a former naive 18-year-old girl, I think you are not wrong to try and protect her by opening her eyes. I also think the chances she told your brother and he used it to spin a narrative that benefits him and makes you the jealous jerk who has it in for him is 100%. The likelihood she gives him more chances because she likes the attention is also high. This is classic dumb kid behavior. You told the truth though, and even if they don't break up immediately, she'll have what you said in her mind. So she'll be looking for the issues you told her about. As far as how to explain it, I would say you are protecting a young person's best interests. And if your brother doesn't like it, he is free to date a woman with life experience, and you'll stay out of it. I wouldn't expect them to ever understand or agree, however. I think this is the most important part. She's only 18. If she was 25, different story. Protect the youth. I'm so proud of you for speaking the truth. How is dating an 18-year-old with no life experience supposed to help a 26-year-old man get back on his feet? Maybe your brother is all that, But dude, you clearly have personal issues with your brother, and everything you say here is BS to justify your messing with him. You went the extra mile to mess with him, and it's hard for me to believe you did it out of the goodness of your heart or to protect a young damsel. This is the exact things I hear when I try and speak up about how manipulative my brother is. Lol. Believe what you want. I try to be as subjective as possible. I know who I am and I know who my brother is. I do hate him, but it's not like I always did though. At a certain point, it just dawned on me that he is who he is. And he doesn't give a rat's ass about me or anyone else no matter how much you try to help. I will not. I've seen too many of his girlfriends and family thinking they can change him, and wasting years of their lives believing they're making a difference. Update. Am I the a-hole for refusing to help my sister after she didn't show up for my wedding? Original post. So my 29 female sister, 27 female, and I have always been pretty close. Or so I thought. Last year, I got married to the love of my life, and we had a small intimate wedding. My sister was supposed to be my maid of honor, but she never showed up. No call, no text, nothing. I was devastated, but I tried to focus on the day and not let it ruin things. Later, she explained that she had a panic attack and couldn't handle the pressure. I understood and tried to be supportive, but it still hurt that she didn't even try to let me know. Fast forward to now, my sister is pregnant and recently asked me for help, both financially and with planning her baby shower. She's in a tough spot, but I do feel bad for her, but I'm still hurting about the wedding. I told her that I am not in a position to help her right now, and she got really upset, saying that I'm being selfish and holding a grudge. Now, my family's divided. Some say I should let it go and support her, while others think it's fair for me to be upset. So, am I the a-hole for refusing to help her? Now for the top comments before reading the update. I'm sorry, panic attack or not, who doesn't turn up or even let the bride know they're not going to turn up? At a wedding of a sibling. Not a-hole. I wouldn't be helping her with anything. I'd love to help you with your baby, but I don't think I can handle the pressure. I'm sure you understand. Exactly. There's literally no excuse at all for not even sending an apology text message as a bare minimum. OP, not a-hole. Honestly, I would be 100% petty and never help her again, purely because of how she handled it. You've already given her a reason and apologized, which is a lot more than she gave you. You're wholly entitled to being angry. Siblings often forget they need to uphold their end of being there when they need you to be there. And instead of showing contrition, she goes on the attack of accusations. I don't think she's sorry for missing your wedding. I think she was jealous and wanted to ruin your day, so she just didn't show up. I wouldn't give her anything, least of all your time and money. Not the a-hole. She is accusatory when she should be contrite and conciliatory. Speaks very loudly as to her thought process and entitled attitude. Can we get more details on her? Why is it her baby daddy helping more with the cost? In-laws, her parents. Why does it fall to you? On top of that, you're now married. So questions about financial help to other people, such as loans or financial gifts, are now joint decisions for the household, not just one sister to another. If Opie wanted to be extra petty, she could plan a shower and then just not attend. But if you don't have the funds to help someone, they should not throw a fit over it. Sister sounds horribly entitled. Now for the update. Thank you all for your thoughtful advice and support. I'd like to provide a detailed update on the situation and recent developments. After much reflection, I decided to address the issue directly with my sister. I arranged a meeting with her, aiming to have an honest and open discussion about her absence from my wedding. I felt it was important to articulate how deeply her actions affected me, particularly since she was supposed to be my maid of honor. During our conversation, I started expressing how hurt and disappointed I was by her not showing up and not even attempting to contact me on the day of the wedding. I told her that her absence, especially given her role, was devastating and made a significant impact on my special day. I stressed that her lack of communication made the situation even more painful. My sister's reaction was quite defensive. Instead of acknowledging the hurt she caused, she focused heavily on her panic attack. She claimed that her mental health crisis was so overwhelming that she couldn't manage to reach out, and she expected this to be sufficient justification for her absence. She repeatedly said that I should understand how debilitating her condition was, and suggested that I was being unreasonable for holding on to my feelings. I tried to explain that while I understood she was dealing with a serious issue, the lack of communication and the absence on a major day in my life left me feeling abandoned and unsupported. I emphasized that acknowledging the impact of her actions was crucial for moving forward and rebuilding our relationship. The conversation took a frustrating turn when my sister shifted focus to her current struggles. She is pregnant and dealing with financial difficulties, which she attributes to her baby daddy's lack of involvement. She asked for my help with her baby shower and financial support, framing it as a dire need given her challenging circumstances. It became apparent that she was relying heavily on others to make up for her baby daddy's shortcomings. When I mentioned that I wasn't in a position to help financially or with a baby shower, she became upset and accused me of being unsupportive and selfish. She argued that my refusal to help, given her current situation, was further evidence of me holding a grudge. She suggested that family should come together in times of need, even if past grievances haven't fully been resolved. Throughout the discussion, my sister's approach felt dismissive. She seemed to believe that her current struggles should overshadow the past issues, and that I should put my feelings aside to support her. Her defensiveness and lack of genuine remorse made it difficult to see a path forward, where both of our concerns could be addressed. My parents, who are informed about the situation, have been urging me to be more forgiving and supportive. They believe that family should come together, especially in difficult times. Their perspective has been challenging, as it feels like they're minimizing my own hurt and focusing primarily on my sister's current needs. My husband has been a key source of support. He agrees with my decision to maintain boundaries and not provide support under the current circumstances. He feels that while empathy is important, my sister's failure to take responsibility and her tendency to blame others makes it difficult to justify helping her. In summary, I've decided to stand by my decision not to help with a baby shower or provide financial assistance. My sister's lack of genuine acknowledgement of her past actions and her tendency to deflect blame have solidified my choice. My family remains divided, with some members feeling I should be more supportive and others understanding my need to protect my emotional well-being. Navigating this situation has been emotionally taxing, but I'm focusing on maintaining clear boundaries and ensuring my own needs are met. I hope that over time, my sister may come to understand the impact of her actions and that we might be able to rebuild our relationship. Thank you again for your support and advice. She suggested family should come in time of need. So if that's true, how come that didn't apply to her during your wedding? I have a hard time believing OP's sister would have that stance if the roles were reversed. Glad OP stuck to her guns. I agree. Notice how family always tell the victim to be the bigger person? It's such BS. I love these people who think we need to move past their crappy behavior and just get over it, while never acknowledging that while perhaps unintended, their crappy behavior nonetheless left us with feelings that cannot always just be let go. She didn't even give you the courtesy of a phone call, and now you're just supposed to forgive all? Has she even said the words, "I'm sorry"? The axis forgets what the tree remembers. I'm glad you stuck to your guns, and I'm sorry your sister couldn't just apologize so you could all move forward. My little sister and me were super close, best friends, as kids. I always had her back and would argue with my mother constantly about being a knob to her, even though I was the scapegoat and got it much worse. It was like us against the world. As adults, I paid her rent, bought her food, shopping, and met her after work every day. Even supported their weed habit at times when her and her fellow were struggling as a couple and financially for a long time, at the detriment of my own finances and relationship. I was 100% sure that she would do the same for me. I just never needed her help really, because I had my act together mostly, and I always thought we would be close. Then I got pregnant. I couldn't smoke weed or go out anymore. I needed her probably for the first time in my life. Not majorly, not financially or physically, but just for moral support as I was sick and my mental health was crap. I just wanted my sister to hang out with me. She just couldn't handle being there for me when I wasn't the life and soul of the party anymore. I was shaken up for ages over it. It was like she just changed towards me completely. I don't know if any of this resonated with your situation, but sometimes it's an unfortunate reality that we can do everything for some people and believe those sacrifices are contributing to a strong bond. But only one side is invested in the other person wholly, and not just for the benefits. Your sister sounds like she likes the benefits of your relationship, but can't fathom a situation where your feelings come first, even on your wedding day. I would feel awful enough about not turning up. I can't imagine not even letting you know and apologizing profusely. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister that my kids won't ever be allowed to sleep at her house if she marries her fiancé? My sister, 27 female, met a guy almost 2 months ago on a dating app. Within their first phone conversation, he told her that he served 12 years in jail for a murder that he committed when he was 18, and he's been out of jail for 3 years. Apparently, the story he initially told her is that him and his friends were trying to rob a guy, and it went wrong, and they ended up unaliving him. She told me and one of her friends immediately after their phone conversation. So we searched his name and found the articles and court documents and were horrified with the actual details of the crime. We told her she should stop talking to him and she agreed. Fast forward a few weeks after that, she tells us that she's still talking to him and they want to get married and are planning their wedding. She said she confronted him about the information we found online pertaining his crime, and he was brutally honest and came clean about everything. He told her it was a mistake he made when he was young and he has since turned to God and lives a completely different life now. She said that their connection is so strong and nobody gets her like he does. And he's been helping her become a more religious person as well. She said that on their second date, he took her to a jewelry store and they are already looking at wedding venues and apartments. I let her know that I didn't think she should talk to him, let alone marry him, and I didn't support her actions. Her friend agreed as well. After I voiced my opinion, I noticed that she stopped telling me anything regarding her relationship. My sister and I are very, very close and tell each other everything. Her and I had a conversation about a week later in which she confronted me about my disapproval and said she doesn't think I'm being a supportive sister. I told her that it all seems so fast and that I don't understand how she even got to the point of marriage so fast with someone she just met. I told her how her decision would affect the dynamic of our relationship and I would be uncomfortable to let my 2 young daughters to go to their house or have any sleepovers considering his violent past. She told me I was judgmental, and I should understand that people make mistakes and grow from them. She ended up telling our younger brother that she was really hurt about what I said. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want my kid staying the night with someone she's only known a few months, even if he didn't have a criminal history. Criminal history isn't strong enough. The man is a murderer. Yes, plus he initially lied about the circumstance. Opie can reassure her sister that her love for her is as strong as ever, but that the extreme violence in the soon-to-be brother-in-law's past is a deal-breaker, as far as ever being a trusted caretaker. If the brother-in-law has truly turned to God, he surely understands Opie's position. My thought is that, based on the sister's overwhelming and swift submission to the fiancé, he has thoroughly manipulated her. Opie and the rest of the family might do well to watch for psych personality disorder symptoms in the fiancé. The guy seems like a classic narcissist. Tell her to wait until after their first big argument to move in together just to see how it goes. I was literally coming to say the same thing. Opie, definitely not the a-hole, but I would try to convince her that she needs to see his bad side before she finds herself trapped. Go on a weekend trip that requires using various forms of public transportation. Go to a loud, crazy concert, anything that could trigger anxiety in even the calmest people. See how he handles himself then. Not a-hole. You are doing what any good parent would do, protecting your kids. Going from meeting to planning a wedding, moving in together, etc. after 2 months is a giant red flag, whether there's a criminal involved or not. And I wouldn't be comfortable leaving my kids in the presence of anyone who makes decisions like that, him or her. Came to say the same. Sounds like he is love-bombing her. Convicted for her aside. Sounds weird even saying that. He is definitely telling her everything she wants to hear. And for me anyway, the finding God part of it is even a bigger red flag. My DA told me that's how they know people are really guilty, is when they have the conversion, as if it erases what they did. Last story. Am I the a-hole for calling the police on my twin sister after she took out a loan in my name? So here's the situation. My twin sister and I, both female 21, have always been super close. We shared everything growing up: clothes, friends, secrets. I thought we had a type of bond where we could trust each other completely. But recently, something happened that has completely shaken that trust. A few months ago, I started noticing strange charges in my credit card statements and emails about a loan application that I never filled out. At first, I thought it was a mistake or maybe identity theft. I was really freaked out because I've been trying to build my credit to move out and start my life independently. After digging into it, I discovered that the loan was taken out in my name and the payments hadn't been made in months. I was confused, hurt, and scared. My credit score tanked, and I started receiving calls from debt collectors. It was a nightmare. I confronted my sister about it, and after some back and forth, she admitted that she took out a loan in my name. She said she was in a tough spot financially and didn't think it would be a big deal. She promised she'd pay it back, but she hadn't made any payments yet and didn't seem to have a plan to start. I was devastated. My financial future was on the line, and I felt completely betrayed by the person I trusted most in the world. I tried to stay calm and work it out with her, but she kept brushing it off, saying it wasn't that big of a deal and that I was overreacting. Eventually, I realized that she wasn't taking responsibility for what she did, and I didn't see any other way out. I called the police and reported her for identity theft. She was arrested, and now the whole family's in chaos. My parents are furious with me, saying I should have handled it within the family and not gone to the authorities. My sister isn't speaking to me and everyone's treating me like the villain. I feel terrible for what happened, but I don't know what else I could have done. My credit is still ruined, and I'm struggling to get my finances back on track. So Reddit, am I the a-hole for calling the police on my twin sister after she took out a loan in my name and refused to pay it back? You try to handle it within the family and she dismissed you. She clearly didn't care about you at all and was only worried about herself. She also committed a crime. She wouldn't be in the situation she is in if she hadn't have done something illegal, and now she's meeting the consequences of her actions. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole, and that's exactly what needed to happen. This is her fault, not yours. You are the victim here, and there has to be consequences to her actions. This would have happened again the next time she got in a financial bind if there hadn't been consequences. Maybe she will have learned everything has consequences, good and bad, depending on the choices you make. Yes, she tried to solve it within the family first, but the sister refused to, and this is the only way to fix this. I am dealing with this within my own family right now. There is a member of the family who stole someone else's identity and ran up a bunch of credit cards in their name. The amounts are quite large, and it's an incredibly serious crime. There will be jail time attached. The victim in this feels so guilty because they don't want to send their family member to prison. The family member has given them no choice. Judgments like that remain on your credit, and your credit cannot start to heal until they are gone. The damage remains for 7 years afterwards and will affect everything. From the interest rates you get to whether or not you can run an apartment or get a car. It shouldn't, but it can also affect your hireability. Employers check it. OP, your twin decided to do life-destroying things to you, and she knows how serious it is. She did it under the belief that because the consequences were so great, you wouldn't inflict them on her. If they want so badly for it to be worked out within the family, then they should all pay her debts off right away to avoid this going any further. Yet somehow, I doubt they will do that.